I love those guys. I love them. Sidewalk was my first crew. Jeff and Shirt Ishmael, Michael Forsyth, Dennis Charles, Richard Morgan, aka Richie Rich. There was a few others on the sidelines that used to be associated with us, but real crew there all the time, doing shows and that. It was those guys, and they really showed me the game. They were a lot older than me. I was the youngest. Also, I was the only real breaker there. They did it a bit, but they was really more on the pop-in and the lock-in, whereas I was more totally committed to the break-in. And yeah, so as much as they helped me a lot, I helped them a lot with what was going on. Soon we had like the hottest street dance show in Covent. We were the first to earn our pass to actually perform there. When they started locking it down, anyone couldn't just perform there. So we were the only ones to have a permit to busk at Covent Garden street dance wise, amongst the fire eaters, the jugglers, the comedians, the magicians and all that sort of stuff at first. Even though before there was a crew called Ozzy's Crew that were there before us, and I have to give respect and a big salute to. Well, my time, I was sacrificing a lot, because after that magical summer, yeah, school just didn't have that much of attraction for me. So I would cut school to go to, say for instance, commercial interviews and stuff. So I had done a couple of commercials back then. I got special permission of school to go on a tour of Scotland and some of the UK to be able to earn our equity card. And back then, the whole performers and actors thing, you had to have that card to actually perform then, and to actually be paid a certain amount of money when you do it. So we got that then, which no crew had back then. We were the first to get it. And then I was just cutting school a lot just to go up Covent Garden and just hang out with the crowd and be into things. Not so much about the money, just be involved in the scene and be around it, and to see if I see any breakers out there that needed burning to once again make a name for myself. I don't mean that disrespectfully. If I was to step to you to say it's because I think you're good and I want to show that I'm better than you so I can be somebody. But that's what it was all about, really. The money to me just came part and parcel of burning, man. and being the man, if you see what I mean. And that's what I was trying to be. Whether I got burned in the process or not, that's part of the game. But initially, in order to do that, that's what I was inspired by. One of the things that inspired me, and I found out a lot later in the game, that inspired the breakers in New York, were the Kung Fu films. Most of the core moves come from the Kung Fu films. Footwork, swipes, the whole talk about style, my style is better than yours, somersaults, flips, and most of the, even head spins come from those movies. Yeah, and I was a big fan of those movies anyway, and I drew a lot of inspiration from that even when I started breaking, unknowing to me that it had that similar effect on the guys who actually made up breaking. So it was about that for me. My biggest inspiration film from that era is called The Prodigal Son. And Lun Chan, the street baller, and he wanted to be the king. So he'd go out and seek whoever and try to beat them. And if he couldn't beat them, then he'd ask them to be his master. I wasn't on that bit, but in terms of trying to seek out breakers and destroy them. So they remember my name, even up to today. Well, as I said, first I was in New York and I wasn't into breaking, but that's when I got the hip hop bug. Then I came back here and then did all the dancing and got into sidewalk crew and everything. So now I've moved back to New York again. Very excited now that I'm into hip hop and breaking, and I'm looking for it again. I'm looking for the action. Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn, I'm looking for the action. And I hear about this guy named Powerful. He's meant to be all that, yeah? And there's this dead end spot that people go to on the weekends and break. And sometimes there's battles, so I used to go down there. And I see one guy, battle him. But you won't beat Powerful. This guy Powerful. Tell him to come, tell him to come. Next week I battle the next man. oh, but you beat me, but you won't beat Powerful. It's like, you're hearing about this Powerful, then Powerful's meant to come down. He doesn't show. Oh, it's okay, next week he comes down. So now I see Powerful, yeah? I've heard so much about, yeah? And I'm looking to see, because I'm in New York, I don't think I'm all that. I want to meet great breakers. This is New York City. This is where, you know, it's going down. I want to meet great breakers and become better as such. I don't think I'm all that at all. Yeah, I know I'm all right in London, but I know this is New York. But I'm thinking, wow, these guys are like butter, man. I'm going through them easy, yeah? So now I see Powerful. But it's not like it is now, where it's like, oh, you break and you're great. Oh, hey, I think you're really great, and then show me if you... It wasn't like that. It was more like, hey, you're powerful, da, da, da. He's like, I heard you want to battle. Yeah? And I'm like, well, no. And as I'm trying to say, no, I just want to meet, right? The crowd's just going nuts, that you can't really hear people talk, sort of thing. Because now the crowd has got bigger and bigger for this particular battle with Powerful and this English guy, yeah, who's meant to be good. So I was like, okay, because I understand that mentality. You've got to pay to play, yeah, in terms of battle, to see anyone's anything. It's not like it is now, where people would just show you things for nothing, or it was very tribalistic then, it was very personal. So, okay, the battle's kicked off, yeah? Start a bit of top rock. He's like, go for yours. One of the rules, you get it known then. I mean, I kind of knew it then, but one of the rules, he was like, go for yours. As in, you go first. You called me, you want to battle me, you go for yours. Yeah, I'll go first. Da, 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 da. Bit of footwork, no, bit of top rock, bit of footwork, building it up. He looked at me almost like in disgust. He did a bit of top rock, he did a bit of footwork, nothing really that great or whatever. Okay, did a bit of twist, building up. Yeah, did a bit of twist. So now, I've done the backspin. Now he's gone, oh no, he didn't. And he's just kicked off this one backspin from on his back. And it's just gone on forever. And I'm just like, oh my God, what just happened there? Yeah, like I've never seen no one spin like that before. So I'm like, okay, da, da, da. So now I've come out again, I think, all right, I'm gonna go for my mills, I'm gonna go for these now. These just come out. Oh, I'm actually doing them as good as I've ever done them before. Like, oh, come into a backspin, little back bridge freeze. He started talking again, like some shit talk, yeah? Next, he's gone into these windmills. They were so fast, I didn't know where he was putting his hands. Later on, we get to call them blur mills. Yeah, where you can't see, he's moving so fast, you can't see where his hands are. But he's been putting his hands everywhere, and I was like, oh my God. And then the backspin out of that, it's just, when is he going to stop, man? This is embarrassing. Yeah. So now I was like, oh, what am I going to do now? Because I can't match him spins. So now I did started swiping and that. My swipes were pretty decent then. Started swiping that. Yeah, his swipes were okay then, but he did some somersaults and stuff, which I was like, wow. So now the battle's finished and that, and I'm trying to be his friend, but he's just sort of walked off. But funny enough, he went to the same high school as me. Yeah, and later on we became friends, and that's my bona fide brethren, Powerful. And nowadays in the scene, if you know Powerful. All man like Rocksteady Crew, Mr. Wiggles, any New York heads would know who he is, because he was one of the best in New York at the time. And we became crew after that. Through my perseverance and just being on him, really. And also proving my worth in terms of what I could do. So yeah, Powerful. And then I left again, New York, and I came back to London. And my first crew had broken up, and I wanted to form a new crew. And that's when I formed London All Stars. And the name sort of reflects how I started them, in terms of I was looking to raid anyone from any crew if I thought he was good enough to represent, sort of thing. And I had the respect of the people anyway for them to sort of come with me. And really, yeah, that's how London All Stars were formed. And most people know London All Stars. They may not know Sidewalk from the Day Doctors. As a hip-hop dancer, as a breaker, I mean, I would say I still kind of do it now, and what I've done. I know hardcore-wise, training every day, all day, every day, doing shows, looking for the battle for everyone. I would say that went on for about 6-7 years. from when I first started to when I really eventually stopped when I moved to LA in 87, in 86. Because even up to 87 I still trained a bit, but after that I sort of tailed off the whole dedication every day, and I sort of went into other things. Plus I needed to catch up on my schooling and stuff like that, and things were different in LA at the time. Around that time hardly anyone was doing it. You couldn't find anyone that really braked and stuff, and I needed to concentrate on other things and grow up a bit, if you see what I mean. Plus it wasn't such a big media hype with it then, in terms of there being a lot of jobs and stuff available then. Plus it's different earning a few £100 being a kid than earning a few £100 every so often being a man. You know what I mean? But since I came back, and that's 86 now, people are saying, oh, by 87 it had died. It's funny, I happened to leave the country in 86. It's funny that, isn't it? Yeah? And then I come back in like 89 and 90, and I'm just naturally drawn to things, if any little thing going on, but not drawn to do it, but just drawn to be around it. People are practicing, oh really, oh let me go around and hang out. Oh, there's a club going on, okay, I'll go there, just to support the scene. I'm happy to pay my money to get in. You don't have to give me nothing. You know, people don't even remember me really. I'm just cool to see it going on. But ever since then, it's escalated and escalated. Oh, Dolby this, Dolby that, Dolby teach this, Dolby come do this, Dolby come do that. And I can when I can, I do when I can, but it's not something that I'm trying to do. It's not something I'm trying to make a living of, or been trying to make a living of. But it's something I love, and I appreciate that at the time, around the 90s and stuff, it needed a boost, it needed a push, it needed help. Now it doesn't need any help, it's self-sufficient now, and it's doing its thing. That's cool. Yeah, it doesn't matter that I'm not sitting in the judge's seat or doing whatever. That's cool. I've got money, I'll pay to get in. I'm cool. You know what I mean?
You were one of the first in popularising it, you know, into the mainstream in this country, weren't you, back in the 80s? You were there.
Yes, I was one of those. Yeah, one of them.